Welcome to a Steeler Thoughts Chief Feelings film review. I'm Ajay, and in this video we'll review the Chiefs' 27-19 Week 16 victory in, what do they call it, the NFL Holiday Remix game against the Houston Texans. As always, this video is broken into chapters, so you can go down the scroll bar or look at the links in the descriptions if there's a particular segment that you want to view. If you want to watch the whole thing, just stick right here and we'll go through it all. Thanks to all of you that follow along, either here on the YouTube channel, if you're downloading the podcast wherever you get podcasts, or if you're following along on TikTok, Twitter, or Instagram at STCF715. All right, let's get to the film review. Look, I know that throughout Steve Spagnuolo's tenure in Kansas City, Chiefs defensive backs have been great tacklers. They've been especially good at coming up to the flat, coming up to the line of scrimmage and making tackles. And I know that last week I did a segment about how the Chiefs defensive backs did a great job against the Browns coming up and tackling. And in that segment I mentioned that this is a trait that has been there with the Chiefs defensive backs for years. This is how they coach them up. This is the kind of guy they look for. But then the Chiefs played the Texans, and the Texans kept trying to throw it into the flat for whatever reason. And the Chiefs defensive backs kept coming up and making tackles. And it got to the point that even Todd Blackledge on the broadcast was like, why do the Texans keep throwing it to receivers in the flat and challenging these defensive backs to make tackles because they keep making tackles? So I'm sorry, I have to do a segment on it again. We're going to look at a couple plays where the Texans just tried to toss it out to a receiver in the flats. And let's look at Chiefs defensive backs again, doing what everyone except Bobby Slowick apparently knew, coming up and making the tackle. So let's start first down for the Texans. This is their first drive. They just got a first down, so they're first and 10, 13:50 to go in the first quarter. Let's run this play, and then we'll break it down. So they motion Dalton Schultz over to the left side. Stroud's in the shotgun. Takes the snap and goes immediately to the right to Nico Collins, and Trent McDuffie nails him for a loss of a couple. So you see on this play, you can see what they're looking at, right? They motion the tight end over to the left, and the Chiefs end up bringing Chris Roland Wallace down tighter to the formation, right? He had been up over the slot, or the inside receiver. Then when the tight end moves, he comes back up over the defensive end. Brian Cook moves over. And this works out for them even more because at the snap, Roland Wallace drops out and Brian Cook moves over with the run action, right? So, like, the Chiefs really have, like, a 2-on-2 in this entire side of the field. And so you'd think, like, these are favorable numbers, right? There's nobody over here if we're able to block one guy and Collins is able to make one man miss, it could be off to the races. But the Chiefs defensive backs are not to be toyed with, especially Trent McDuffie. The guy in particular you don't want to test his tackling is Trent McDuffie. He IDs it quickly, he gets through the block of the receiver, and he gets Nico Collins' legs before he's even able to gather the catch. I mean, it's a losing proposition to test these guys. And it gives the Chiefs a big advantage, right? They can sell out against the run. They can have 9 guys, from the hash mark over on this side to guard against the run, because they know that even if they have these two out here, Trent McDuffie can go 1-on-2 and make this tackle. And he did it. And we knew we're at the point now when, as a Chiefs fan, when you watch them throw out into the flat, you're just like, why are you doing this? Thank you, but why? And we can see it from the end zone view. I'm not sure that that's going to give us any more perspective on this play, but you can see, they've got Pinnell in. They're ready. They're ready for the option to the right, and they can leave McDuffie out there in that compromised position because he's going to make it happen. And we knew he'd make it happen. But Bobby Slowick didn't seem to know. So we now jump ahead to 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. Chiefs are up 7-0 at this point, and the Texans have a 2nd and 6. They're right around the Chiefs' 11-yard line. So let's run the play this time and see what happens. This time they're up from under center. They got a play action to the right. They try the screen to the left to Collins again, and Reed absolutely destroys it for a 4-yard loss. So what happens this time? So this time they go bigger, right? They've got a couple tight ends in the game. In 12 personnel, they have just the 2 wide receivers, and they sell hard on a play action, right? So this time you've got 3 linebackers. The Chiefs are in base also. They're selling hard on a play action. This looks like a run. So, oh, good. What do we have? We have 2-on-2 on the outside, just like last time, except this time both guys are in position. Last time, at least Roland Wallace was dropping deep. This time, both guys are in position. You're going to have the inside guy come in. Nobody, like last time McDuffie was being blocked, right? There was at least the guy being blocked was the one closest to the point of attack. This time Reed is unblocked. They're trying to get Laramie Tunsil out there to come help and block him, but he's way too late to affect Justin Reed. Reed's way too fast for that. Reed IDs it immediately, and he's a sitting duck. Again, this is what the Chiefs defensive backs do. You have some guys that are like all-world players like Trent McDuffie who just do it all. They cover, they tackle. But the Chiefs select for big physical defensive backs that will press, play physical coverage, and they will come up and tackle. Don't test them this way. In this case, 2nd and 6 turned into 3rd and 10, and ultimately the Texans kicked a field goal. These are wasted plays, especially without some kind of creative design to at least keep the DB off you. You saw with Trent McDuffie on the last play, when he's blocked, he got through the block. But here, there's no chance. Like, you're just letting a guy who's a high IQ player. Justin Reed is a downhill safety. He comes up and he makes big hits. You're just asking him to play right into his skill set, and that's what he did. See it here from the end zone view, and they try to dress it up with the play action, but it doesn't, you have the numbers. The thing is, it's not about having the numbers. Yes, your play design gives you the numbers to have 2-on-2. It doesn't matter. If you're 2-on-2 with Chiefs defensive backs, they're going to make the tackle. And that's what happened. All right, now we got 13:01 to go in the second quarter. Texans are down 7-3, and they have a 2nd and 11 at the Chiefs' 37-yard line. All right, so let's run this play. So the Texans, they motion Schultz over to the left. So now we've got 2-on-2, but we've got a tight end here. Tight end, linebacker Leo Chenal, and we have Najee Johnson. So it's like we got a tight end out there blocking, and we now have their 3rd corner. So we've got 2-on-2. Should we throw it out there? No, we shouldn't. You shouldn't. Why do they keep doing this? They do motion Schultz over. They have a run action, and I don't know. Again, they're 2-on-2, so they're feeling good probably. Maybe they're like, well, we have a linebacker because we have our tight end. Our tight end's a better blocker. Najee Johnson's their 3rd corner. It's not McDuffie out there. Maybe this is what we should do. But again, this is what Chiefs defensive backs do. You know where Najee Johnson has struggled sometimes? Down the field or on crossing routes. You know what he's not struggling with? Coming up and making tackles in the flat. Again, he's not encumbered by a block at all. You're just giving him a free run. A downhill physical corner. You're giving him a free run at your wide receiver. He's keying on it immediately because the Chiefs are ready for it. And the 2-on-2, like I've said, doesn't matter. They're not going to commit extra people over there. They're not missing the fact that there isn't another defender there. Their DBs will key on this play and go make the hit. You're just asking to lose yardage. And I don't understand why Bobby Slowick just continued to try this. The first two particularly, because like I said, at least the first one, McDuffie was being blocked. He had to get through a block. The second one, to me, was the dumbest, because Justin Reed is a downhill guy and he was unblocked. The first one, I wouldn't test McDuffie if he was being blocked, but whatever. He's being blocked. This one, I guess they're like, well, maybe Najee Johnson won't. But I don't understand. Like, if you're studying the Chiefs defense, the place that I would say is the worst place to test Chiefs defensive backs is whether they can come up to the line of scrimmage and make plays. And now we're looking at early in the second quarter, and Slowick has tried it 3 times, and he's lost yardage every single time. It's not like I'm skipping over successful ones. These are the 3 times they've tried so far, and the 3 results have been the same. All right, so now we've moved to the third quarter. 9:19 to go in the third quarter. The Texans have a 2nd and 8 at the Chiefs. It looks like 47-yard line or so. They're down 17-16. So let's see what happens on this one. All right, so Stroud in the gun. We've got McDuffie over the top. Roland Wallace is dropping back. Okay, it's 2-on-1. Should we try it over here? Oh, is that McDuffie? Yeah, that's McDuffie. All right. Well, again, what did you think was going to happen? This is literally exactly the concept the Chiefs ran on the first play that I showed you here. Roland Wallace comes in. The safeties are going to rotate. Roland Wallace is going to drop deep. So again, it looks nice. It looks nice. There's, it's basically 2-on-2, and the second one is way back here. So you got 2-on-1 here. We just have to block Trent McDuffie, and then we get something big, right? It's not like McDuffie is going to break this and stop us in the backfield, right? I mean, we've done this before. You are challenging a team that this is what their defensive backs do. And the weird part to me, too, is they didn't run a single concept where they, faked a motion here and then had the blocker go and try to, get something downfield. Just run this motion, fake the throw here, have him slip the block and run, at least do something with how much they're keying. They did do a play where they tried to fake a motion over here and run a screen on this side, which is a good idea. It's not as effective for the Chiefs because they don't have a bunch of people over here. You did get these people moving this direction and then have to double back. But I don't know, they're repeatedly trying to do this when it's not working. And I said, I get the 1-on-2, but it's Trent McDuffie. And I get that he had to go through a blocker at least for this one, right? We've just seen a couple where they weren't even having to go through a blocker. But this is what Trent McDuffie does. And Bobby Slowick repeatedly, he tried this 4 times through the course of the game and lost yardage every single time, setting his offense back. He would ultimately punt on this drive. I don't know what to tell you. This is something that anybody that follows the Chiefs will tell you. Their defensive backs come up and tackle. The only guy that occasionally has been missing tackles this year is Shamari Connor because he flies in hot. And he was out for this game. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand repeatedly trying McDuffie. I don't understand trying anybody without with a free run. And yet they did this repeatedly during this game when even people like me have already made videos being like, hey, you know what the Chiefs do really well at the defensive back position? They come up in the flat and tackle. But that's what Bobby Slowick wanted to do, and as a Chiefs fan, I thank him for it. So let's join the game with 13:04 to go in the first quarter. The Texans are on their first drive of the game, and they have a 3rd and 12 at the Chiefs' 43-yard line. Let's run the play that they do here, and then we'll break it down. Stroud is operating out of the shotgun, takes a snap, looks to his left and tries to throw a post route to Collins that's intercepted by Jaden Hicks. Let's take a look at how this happened. So to start, the Texans appear to be in 11 personnel. Again, caveat, I don't know the Texans personnel that well, but it looks like we've got a running back and a tight end. That's Dalton Schultz. And 3 wide receivers. The Chiefs are running a cover 2 man. Nothing too exotic. They've got Jaden Hicks, Brian Cook as their 2D safeties. The one interesting thing that happens with their coverage, though, is that right at the snap, they switch places. So if you notice, they're lined up here. They end up crossing, and Hicks takes this side, Cook takes this side. right at the snap. Otherwise, it's just man coverage. You can see the Texans route combination here is going to be double posts. So they've got a post here from Collins, post here from, I think that's Dell. And then they got chips from Woods and Schultz. They're going to chip and then come out into the flat, chip and then come out into the flat. And so the kind of key on two things here. One is that Hicks does a good job staying up over the top of this route. I call his interception a Greg Wesley interception. Those of you who watched the Chiefs in the early to mid 2000s might remember the safety Greg Wesley. And it just always felt like the interceptions he got were him just sitting over the top of coverage, waiting for an overthrow, and being sure to be in the right position when it came. Very useful interceptions. And so typically those don't happen to safeties that drive really hard when they see the throw. You know, if you drive really hard on the throw, then if a ball is floated, you don't really get that chance. But Hicks does a good job staying on top. And a lot of credit should be given here to Joshua Williams. As Joshua Williams, knowing he's got the safety over the top, is playing trail technique here. And he stays right in Collins' hip pocket, essentially. So Stroud he's winding up to make the throw now. Look at how tight this coverage is. This window is really small. And so Stroud really has to thread a needle to try to get the ball here. And if he misses by even a little bit, I mean, the reason why he overthrows it is he knows if he underthrows this ball, he's putting it in real danger because Williams has such tight coverage. So the window he's trying to fit it in is really tiny. Hicks does a good job of being there on the other end of that. He overthrows it just a bit, and Hicks is there to take advantage. This is good coverage from both people. Great interception for the Chiefs defense. You see it from this end. Stroud really wasn't terribly pressured in the pocket. You know, Chris Jones was doing Chris Jones things against Kendrick Green. But it's not like he really affected this throw, per se. He was able to get late pressure. Stroud had the throw there. I mean, it's just a really tight window. This is really good coverage. Tough throw to make in that tight coverage. He sailed it just a bit, and the Chiefs took advantage. Got a big pick on their first drive. There was a lot of discussion during and after this game about the relative values of Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt when it came to the Chiefs' short yardage running game. I think this mainly happened because Isaiah Pacheco in the third quarter had some unsuccessful short yardage plays, and Kareem Hunt later in the game had some successful short yardage plays. And that led to a lot of people questioning why the Chiefs would ever run Isaiah Pacheco in short yardage situations at all. So I decided to go back and we're going to look at all of the plays in this game where the Chiefs ran the ball where there were 4 or fewer yards to get the first down. And let's look at, there'll be some runs for Pacheco, some for Hunt. And let's look at the relative performance of the two backs and the performance of the team during those runs to see if we can get any answers as far as, does it matter? Should the Chiefs be picking one running back over the other, or are both viable options when it comes to the run game in short yardage? So let's start with this play here. This is from the Chiefs' first drive of the game. It's actually their second play of the game on offense. They have a 2nd and 3 after getting 7 yards on first down, and they have the ball at their own about 41-yard line. So let's run through this play really quickly and see what happens, and then we'll come back and break it down. So you see Mahomes motion worthy over to the left and hand it to Pacheco going right. Pacheco kind of darts through traffic and ends up getting 7 yards and a first down on 2nd and 3. So let's take a look here on what went on this play. So the Chiefs here are lined up in 12 personnel. They've got one running back, Isaiah Pacheco, and their 2 tight ends are Noah Gray here, Travis Kelce here. Wide receivers are Justin Watson and Xavier Worthy. So the first thing to note is at the snap, the Chiefs motion Worthy on a jet motion behind and snap it. And if you see here, this is actually an RPO. So right here, Mahomes has the option to hand this off to Pacheco or to hold it and swing a bubble screen to Xavier Worthy, and he's got Watson and he's got Noah Gray out in front as blockers. So if we let this run a little bit, you can see Watson and Gray coming out in front to block for Worthy. So that option was also there for Mahomes, and they don't block the end down on this side. So in theory, the read could simply be to the end. I mean, Mahomes might just be looking at numbers in the box overall. It's kind of a muddy box. It's hard to tell. Like, they look like they could be in cover 3 here, but they do have 4 guys that are here. Like, one could read this as an 8-man box. So Mahomes might be seeing how much guys are dropping at the snap or coming up. Or it could be as simple as just a read of this end. And if the end crashed down, he would have swung this bubble over because he would have liked the numbers. But since the end kind of stayed wide here, he decided to hand it off. It could be as simple as just that read right there. In any case, both options were there for Mahomes. He ended up handing it to Pacheco. The line is going to block as so. Joe Thuney is going to block this tackle. Creed Humphrey is going to take this tackle. Jawan Taylor is going to take this tackle. And you're going to get the guards, Trey Smith and Mike Caliendo. Where's Caliendo? There. Or sorry, I hit Thuney. Here's Caliendo and Trey Smith are going to come to the second level. So you got Thuney here, Humphrey here, Taylor here, and then the 2 guards coming up to the second level. So you see Pacheco take the handoff. The linemen are pretty well blocked up, and Pacheco does a good job being patient here and waiting for an opening. He actually ends up kind of reading the defender that is being blocked by Jawan Taylor right here and determining his direction based on what gap this defender tries to fill. So see, if you watch him, Pacheco is waiting, and then this defender flashes his helmet on the inside of Jawan Taylor. So Pacheco decides to take the other side. And he comes around, pops it out, and then as Trey Smith is moving his second level defender out, he cuts in behind Trey Smith to get upfield, get north and south right here. So after going around Taylor, then he comes inside of Smith to get up the field and get 7 yards. So all in all, the play is blocked pretty well, and Pacheco seems to read it out pretty well also. So let's look at this again. Remember, the end here is unblocked, and it looks like he's kind of the read. So if he goes in, Mahomes might have tossed this out to the bubble to Worthy. But since he kind of flashed down, that might have been the primary reason. I'm not exactly sure what Mahomes is reading here, but it very well could have just been the end right here, especially based on where Mahomes is looking as he's at the mesh point. But then once Worthy gets it, remember, we've got Thuney blocking the tackle. He's unblocked. Creed blocking this tackle. Jawan Taylor blocking the end. Caliendo comes up. Trey Smith comes up to second level. And watch Pacheco here. Very patient. He's coming through and reading this out. And he's basically trying to decide based on how this defender plays Taylor, whether he's going to cut up or he's going to come around. So he does a good job waiting to the last minute, and then look at the defender, chose a gap. He chose inside as Pacheco kind of flashed into this gap, so he bounces it around and takes it outside. Then he sees Trey Smith getting his defender out, and so he cuts it back up inside and gets a solid gain here of 7 yards. Picks up a first down on a second and short situation. So all in all, this is a play that was blocked pretty well and looks like it was read out pretty well by Pacheco. No real notes here. The line did pretty well, and Pacheco got what was there and got a first down. So from this play, no reason. One might argue this isn't like a true short yardage situation since it's second down. But don't worry, we'll get short yardage, third yard down short yardage situations as well. But nothing from this run to suggest that there was any deficiency in the way that Pacheco was reading things out in a 2nd and 3. So our next run play comes with 4:42 to go in the second quarter. The Chiefs are down 10-7 at this point, and they have a 1st and goal at the Texans' 3-yard line. So another short yardage running situation. Let's take a look at this play, and then we'll break down what happened. We've got Juju motion over to the right. Mahomes is under center. Hands to Kareem Hunt, who goes up the middle for a touchdown. So let's take a look at how this happened. The Chiefs actually line up in a lighter personnel for a goal line. I mean, this isn't quite goal line, but for a short yardage situation. They're actually in 3 wide, 11 personnel. There's 1 running back, Kareem Hunt, 1 tight end, Travis Kelce, and their wide receivers are DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, and Juju Smith-Schuster. So they motion Juju this way, and the idea is they have the end unblocked. So I think this will make the end hesitate a little bit as he goes by, and additionally, hopefully will bring a defender out of the box to follow him. So if you see in his motion, you have 2 defenders actually running with Juju, and they kind of slowed this 3rd defender down as he ran by. So that's Juju's motion. You can see how they slowed the 3rd defender down right here in that collision. So Juju's motion helps make him hesitate, sends these 2 over, and slows him down coming in. So it actually accomplishes quite a bit of removing traffic from the run. They end up then blocking this as so. So they get a double team here from Tooney and Caliendo on this D tackle. Remember, he's unblocked. Creed takes this D tackle by himself. Jawan Taylor comes out and gets this end. Trey Smith will come up, and he ultimately kicks out this linebacker. And then Travis Kelce hugs the end of this block and then comes around and tries to help block the linebacker here. So let's watch this in action. Here's the handoff, and you see the blocks coming together. Here's that double team. Trey Smith has come out, and he's going to end up getting this backer. Taylor's got this block, and Creed is doing enough to keep this tackle out of the way. So ultimately, Kelce's kind of riding this double team, and he's going to try to make his way over here. Remember, this person's going with Juju. They're going with Juju. This person's going to try to come in. So Hunt takes the handoff and is able to navigate. Again, Hunt does really well with his feet. He kind of sets and pivots to get away from this tackle. Then he's able to get north-south behind the double team block over here. And Caliendo, if you notice, is coming off of this double team and going to try to get to the 2nd level as well. But Hunt stays behind the double team right here and kind of just sees this as being his path to the end zone and just follows it all the way. I think Travis Kelce was expecting Hunt to be a little bit more toward the outside, but since Hunt sees this defender closing in, I think he decides to hug the back of this double team. Well, now it's not a double team because Caliendo's come off, but hug the back of Joe Tooney and try to get into the end zone. The reason why I'm saying I think Kelce thought he was going to be farther outside is if you watch Kelce when he comes to this linebacker, part of the reason is that he doesn't, based on their timing, he doesn't get a good angle at the backer. He comes at him right from the side, but he's trying to just shove him out of the way because I think he thinks Hunt's going to come in through here. But Hunt's actually much more on Tooney's hip. So that linebacker ends up coming right up into Hunt. But Hunt is very good at falling forward through contact. And he gets a boost because the defensive end ends up hitting him from behind. And so that pushes him forward, and he ultimately is able to drive into the end zone for a touchdown. So we'll see this again. Again, here's Juju's motion. So if you remember, Juju's going to come across, and him coming across is going to help muddy this up, and this defender is going to follow, and the deep defender is going to follow as well. Blocking scheme here, we've got a double team here. Creed is going to block here. Taylor is going to block here. Trey Smith comes out and takes 23 right here. Kelsey is going to ride this double team and come over to try to block the backer. And Caliendo ends up coming out off. First, he's going to double team here and then come out and try to block a second level defender as well. So you see Juju going, see this defender going out with him. So I marked the wrong guy who's going to run with Juju. It's actually 48, not 4. 4 is the one that's going to try to come across, and he runs into 48. So you can see how Juju's motion removes these two entirely and slows 4 down from actually getting involved in the play. So here is the handoff. So you see the double team coming on here, and then Caliendo is trying to come off the double team and block here. Smith is going to come out. Taylor's handling his block. Creed's handling his block. And we're about to get the ball here for Hunt, and Hunt is going to try to come in behind this block from Creed. Then as he comes up, I think the ideal is to get this lane here, which is what I think Kelsey thinks is going to be happening. But with this pursuit from the backside and this defender here, Hunt chooses to hug Tooney a little bit more, stay in a little bit closer, and just go straight north-south. And because of that, he ends up running into this defender that Kelsey's blocking. But again, this is where his combination of him being strong at the point of attack and the defensive end hitting him from behind kind of propels him into the end zone, and he gets the touchdown. So all in all, I would say this play was a little muddier than the one we saw from Pacheco. Makes sense that it's at the goal line. It's blocked pretty well at the point of attack, right? It's not like anybody was busting through, and Hunt navigated the traffic pretty well. He met defenders on the second level, though, and was able to fall forward, one of the really good traits that he has to get into the end zone. So maybe blocked a little bit worse than the Pacheco play, and maybe you could give Hunt a little extra props for what he was able to do on the second level. Both blocked pretty well and run pretty well by the running back. So we move ahead to 10:31 to go in the third quarter. The Chiefs are up 17-16 and have a 3rd and 1 at their own 49-yard line. Now this play and the play after it are two of the plays that I think I heard the most about people questioning why Pacheco was being used in short yardage situations. So we'll break them down back to back and see what went on in these plays. Let's let this third down play run first, and then we can take a look at what was going on. So here they motion Kelsey out, hand it to Pacheco from a tight split, and he gets stuffed at the line. So let's look into some detail about what happened here. First of all, personnel-wise, interestingly, for a 3rd and 1, the Chiefs are in 11 personnel. They have 1 running back, Isaiah Pacheco, and 1 tight end, Travis Kelce. Even though they're kind of loaded in the backfield in this formation, they have 3 wide receivers. This is Juju Smith-Schuster, this is Justin Watson, and this is Xavier Worthy. They then motion Kelsey out into the tight end spot, and they have kind of a split back look. They end up handing to Pacheco, trying to hit the left side of the line, and this is how they end up blocking this. They get Tooney coming out here. Creed and Caliendo have double team here. Jawan Taylor is actually going to take this tackle, and Trey Smith is going to try to sneak through and hit the middle linebacker. Kelsey is responsible for the end, and Juju takes this defensive back on the edge. So if you watch what happens, they hand it to Pacheco, and he's just trying to hit this gap right behind Trey Smith. So Trey Smith is going to get the linebacker, and Pacheco is going to try to come in right behind him. The initial blocks, Tooney's got his block. You've got the double here with Creed and Caliendo. You see Taylor here, Kelsey here, Juju here. Everybody's on their block. But watch Trey Smith. As Trey Smith tries to come through and hit the middle linebacker, he doesn't get through that hole, and the middle linebacker comes unimpeded and is able to hit Pacheco right in the hole and stop him from getting any yardage. Now, I want you to watch very carefully. Look at Trey Smith's right arm right here. As Trey Smith's coming through, number 72, the defensive tackle, hooks Trey Smith's arm right there. you can't see it very well in this view, but we'll see it through the end zone view real quick. He hooks Trey Smith's arm, which is why he falls here and is not able to go block that middle linebacker. If his arm hadn't been hooked like that, he'll block that middle linebacker, and Pacheco has a place to go and a way to get to that first down marker. So let's actually look at that from the end zone view right here. It's much clearer. So again, let's have Kelsey motion out. Just a reminder of who's blocking whom. Tooney's got him. Caliendo and Creed take him. Juwan Taylor blocks 72, and Trey is trying to come through here, and he's trying to block 43. Taylor's the one that's blocking him. Kelsey is blocking him. So let's watch this again, and pay attention to Creed Trey Smith, as he's coming through and trying to get to 43. Look at 72's right arm. Hook Trey Smith's right arm as he comes by right there, and Smith can't get off and falls down as he's trying to block 43. He's trying to hit this block right here, and then look at what 43 is able to do. Come in, and he gets low and is able to stop Pacheco's momentum and tackle him right there. So this actually should be a defensive holding penalty on 72 and should have been a first down for the Chiefs. But this kind of stuff that kind of happens in the trenches, sometimes things get missed, things don't get called. And that was a big one that was missed there, because there's a reason why this play wasn't blocked up. It's because 72 held Trey Smith. Again, this isn't really a play that I feel like one can have a lot of gripe with Pacheco here. You had an unblocked guy right in the hole before Pacheco was able to get any kind of momentum. Like, is your argument that maybe you could have fallen forward a little more? I mean, I don't know. He goes low. 43 goes low too. He tries to drive forward, and he gets ridden to the ground. I don't really know that I can put a lot of blame on Pacheco for this run. Honestly, it was blocked up pretty well. It was just that the defensive tackle committed a penalty, and that prevented Trey Smith to be able from getting to his spot and blocking who he was supposed to. This probably would have been a first down otherwise. But hard for me to put a ton of blame on Pacheco for this play. All right, so now we jump to the very next play. So the Chiefs had a 3rd and 1. Now they got 4th and 1 at the 49-yard line, still up 17-16 now with 9:57 to go in the third quarter. So let's run the 4th down play, and then we can check out what we think. Here Pacheco again tries to get it and gets stuffed right in the middle of the line. So let's take a look at what happened. Again, the Chiefs come out in 11 personnel for the short yardage situation. So they're trying to give the appearance that they could be passing. One running back, tight end here is Travis Kelce. DeAndre Hopkins is up here. This is Justin Watson. This is Xavier Worthy. And they try a very similar blocking scheme. So they've got Tooney blocking here. They've got a double again from Caliendo and Creed here. They've got Juwan Taylor coming in here. Trey Smith again is coming to the second level to block the linebacker. And then Travis Kelce is taking on the defensive end. So let's watch this in action. Here's the double. Tooney's taking this end. Juwan Taylor is taking this. And then this time Trey is actually able to get through to the second level and is not held. Unfortunately, this time, Trey Smith, who's normally so great and so violent at the point of the attack, gets kind of blown up backwards by the linebacker. He gets pushed off. So, in the last clip, I said that had Trey Smith gotten to the middle linebacker, then we probably would have gotten a first down. Well, unfortunately, he got to the middle linebacker this time, and he got moved backwards. And you look at it, Pacheco is like, all right, I'm going to follow Trey, and we're going to go get this. Well, unfortunately for Pacheco, he runs right into the back of Trey Smith because Trey Smith gets blown backwards. The linebacker does a great job of getting under Trey's pads with his hands and getting the leverage here in the interaction and just pushing him back. To make matters worse, Jawan Taylor didn't hold his block as well as he did the first time around. So 97 is able to squeeze in behind, and after Pacheco runs into Trey Smith, he's able to take him down for a loss. So let's see this from up front. Remember, we've got Tooney here, got the double here, Taylor's blocking here, Kelsey here, and Trey Smith is going to try to come up and block the middle linebacker. So this time Trey Smith gets through. He's there, but I think he tries to give a shoulder right there to 97 and maybe just wasn't quite prepared. And look at the linebacker get hands on him first and push him back right there. And look at Pacheco trying to come behind him. And again, 97 does the same really to Taylor. He manages to get under his pads, push him back a little bit, disengage, and come in. I mean, Pacheco doesn't have a chance on this play. Like, Trey Smith gets blown up. John Taylor isn't able to hold his block. And so with Pacheco having literally no gap to go through here, he is helpless as 97 comes off the block and takes him down. I really can't fault Pacheco. I honestly feel like this one is even harder than the last one because Pacheco has nowhere to go forward. At least the last time he was running forward right into a linebacker. Now the linebacker got low and it was a hard situation to gain positive yardage, but at least he was like coming forward at somebody and in theory could have bowled him over, although I feel like it was a good play by the linebacker. There wasn't much to be done. This time, I mean, his lineman's right in the hole. He's literally got nowhere to go. And then as he's a sitting duck, he gets tackled from the side by a defensive tackle. Like, there's nothing for Pacheco to do on this play. So, to me, we've looked at 4 short yardage runs, 3 by Pacheco, 1 by Kareem Hunt. The 2 that were blocked well went for positive gains and were successful. The 2 that were not blocked well did not. I think it's been that simple. I haven't seen anything to this point that differentiates Hunt versus Pacheco much, except that Hunt on his run did do a good job falling forward, although that was helped by being hit from behind by a defensive end. Let's jump ahead now to 3:30 to go in the third quarter. The Chiefs are up 17-16, and they have a 2nd and 3 at the Texans' 12-yard line. So let's run the play and see what happens. They've got Kareem Hunt at the left of Mahomes in the shotgun. He takes a run going right and ends up gaining about 5 yards or so, maybe 4 or 5 yards to set up 1st and goal for the Chiefs. But let's rewind and see what happened. Chiefs come out in 11 personnel. They've got 1 running back, that's Kareem Hunt, 1 tight end, that's Travis Kelce. The 3 wide receivers are Justin Watson, it's Hollywood Brown, and it's tough to see in that sunlight who that is up there. I think that is DeAndre Hopkins. Oh no, that's Juju, I think. That looks like Juju Smith-Schuster, but it's kind of hard to tell in the sunlight up there. So, what are the Chiefs going to do on this play? They're going to leave the end unblocked. Oh, well, first we should say, just like before, this is an RPO, like one of the plays we discussed earlier. So again, Mahomes has the option to do a bubble screen over here to Hollywood Brown. So watch Hollywood Brown over here on this play. At the snap, he kind of comes out, Kelce goes up, Juju goes up. So there's the option here to just throw a bubble screen here and have him go. But Mahomes decides to hand this off, probably because it's a pretty light box here. There are, 6 right here in the box. So he probably decides numbers-wise, because the end does kind of commit into the run here. So if that were like a singular read, then you could throw it out. But if you look at numbers here, it's 3-on-3 over there, and they've got a light box over here. So it does see, and honestly, you're not that worried about the end. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your defensive line or for your offensive line to block. So you like those numbers favorably, which is probably why Mahomes handed this off. And so the way that they block this, Tooney is taking the tackle. Caliendo's going second level. Creed is taking this defensive tackle. Trey Smith's going second level, and Juwan Taylor is taking the defensive end. So if you watch how this goes, Tooney gets a shoulder on the tackle. Creed takes care here, and Trey Smith gives a nice shoulder before moving up, which helps Creed with this defensive tackle, and Taylor takes this defensive tackle. So as Hunt comes through, he's got a nice lane. Look at this nice lane between Creed and Taylor, and he's got Trey Smith kind of leading him here. As he comes through, honestly, if Tooney was able to hold this block, and this is a tough block because he's coming all the way from the tackle spot, trying to get leverage underneath, and he ends up falling. But if he's able to occupy this tackle a little longer, if you look at this run right here, if this defensive tackle is not in the picture, you look at Hunt possibly having an alley as Trey comes forward to sneak behind Trey Smith. Right here, you can see that in that gap between them, or even sneak this way and have a good shot at scoring a touchdown. But unfortunately, the defensive tackle is able to come through Tooney's block and get Hunt from the back here. But Hunt, keeps his feet moving, and the unblocked end does a good job reemerging and getting in the picture. But Hunt keeps his feet moving. They signal his forward progress stopped around the 8-yard line. But a nice positive gain here for the Chiefs. So again, we'll look at it from this angle. End will be unblocked. Tooney is going to take this tackle. Caliendo's second level. Creed takes this end, but Trey Smith, watch the shoulder he gives before he goes second level. That ends up being very helpful to kind of get him off balance and remove him from the play. And then Taylor blocking here. So Hunt takes the handoff. You can see, watch Trey Smith right there. Just lay his shoulder into this defensive tackle right there. Look how it spins him off balance, and he ends up falling down over here. So he really helped Creed out with his block with that. Then Tooney's got the tough assignment of coming across, trying to get a shoulder in the chest, and her riding this defensive tackle. And he's the one that ultimately isn't able to sustain that block. Caliendo comes through. Creed we talked about here. So then look at the hole that opens up for Kareem Hunt as he comes through. He's got this nice gap, and if Trey Smith and Caliendo are able to make blocks here, this really could be a touchdown if this defender was occupied just a little bit longer. You see him coming through, and if he doesn't have to worry about this guy, there's potential to come this way. There's potential that he could have cut it back this way, and he probably would have scored. But the defensive tackle is able to get him here. And then Will Anderson, the defensive end here, does a great job of just getting back in the picture, pursuing the play and getting involved, holding this to a 4 or 5 yard gain. But again, this follows with the pattern we were talking about before. The plays that are blocked up well end up being positive. And this is a 2nd and 3. They end up getting a first down. But every time the running back has been able to get through the first level unencumbered, the run has gone well. And every time they haven't, the run's been stuffed. I think the pattern has been simple as that, regardless of who the running back has been. Now we jump ahead to 8:25 to go in the fourth quarter. The Chiefs are up 24-19, driving down, trying to get some points. And they're facing a 3rd and 1 at the Texans' 33-yard line or so. Let's see the play, and then we'll break down what happened. Got Mahomes here in the shotgun. He sends Hunt over to his right side, and Mahomes hands it to Hunt, who goes left and picks up about 3 yards and a first down. So let's break down what happened on this play. Again, in a short yardage situation, the Chiefs are in 11 personnel. 1 running back, 1 tight end. 3 wide receivers. This looks like Juju again. This is Xavier Worthy, and this is Justin Watson. And again, in the short yardage situation, the Chiefs are running an RPO. So if you notice here, as Mahomes comes to do the handoff action, they've got a bubble screen option over here to Xavier Worthy, with Juju and Travis Kelce up here blocking. So that option is there for Mahomes. He chooses to hand it here, and again, you can see why, because we're looking at a 6-man box. So again, you're not blocking this end. So really, you've got 5 people to block 5, right? Good numbers for the offense, so this is a good situation to hand off. If you're looking, the defensive end did kind of break down a little bit, but he is crashing down. I will say for these kinds of situations, if you look at how everybody crashes, there is some option here in the future if Mahomes wanted to run one of these, on these kinds of plays, because it looks like people are taking the bubble seriously, the run seriously, and so that third option, as we saw against the 49ers in the Super Bowl, will be there for Mahomes at times just to take off and go. Anyway, how the Chiefs end up blocking this, like we said, unblocked here. So you've got Tooney blocking here. Caliendo slips out to the second level. You've got Creed blocking here, and he gets some help from Trey. And then Wanye Morris blocks here. And Creed and Trey Smith, you'd imagine one of them would likely want to go second level to get that last box defender right here. But they kind of get hung up in this block. This ends up being a kind of 3-on-2 block with Wanye Morris helping out. And the unblocked defender is so far away anyway, is somewhat inconsequential to a 3rd-and-1 situation. Maybe they weren't trying to get second level at all, I'm not sure. But then when Hunt gets it, again, this is sealed pretty well, right? You've got Tooney here, Caliendo here. Creed is doing enough job walling off this mass of this 3-on-2 mass so that there is a gap. Hunt has a hold a hit. And again, he's not touched until he gets about 2 yards. Then the end is able to come off of Tooney's block, and the tackle comes off of this double team behind, and they end up bringing him down for a gain of 3 yards. Again, let's look at it from the reverse view. We said we've got Tooney here. Caliendo is going to go second level and block here. Creed and Trey come out this way, and Wanye there, and they end up kind of 3-on-2 blocking right there. So look at Hunt. Look at where he's got. He's got a nice lane to go through. It's blocked up well. Hunt goes right through, and he essentially just gets what's blocked. 55 does a good job coming off of that block and getting to him, but it's a nice gain. Hunt gets what's there. Again, another well-blocked up play. Hunt's not contacted until he's 2 yards past the line of scrimmage on 3rd-and-1, and so he's able to convert. All right, so for our last short yardage play of the game, with the 2-minute warning now, the Chiefs are up 27-19, and they have a 2nd and 4 at the Texans' 33-yard line. So at this point, a first down ends the game. Texans don't have any timeouts. And they're in a position where I think both teams kind of understand that they're probably going to just try to run it twice to get 4 yards and end this game. So look at how the Chiefs are lined up here. We talked about on a lot of these short yardage situations, the Chiefs were lined up in 11 personnel. They still had lighter personnel to give the risk of a passing play. No such case this time. The Chiefs come out with 2 tight ends and 2 running backs. This is 22 personnel. Only 1 wide receiver on the field, and that's Juju Smith-Schuster, and he's lined up tight. So let's take a look at the play and see what happens. The handoff to Kareem Hunt, who cuts it out left and gets a huge gain. Ends up sliding down after gaining 20 yards and ending the game. So let's see how this happened. Like we said, the Chiefs are in 22 personnel with a tight end and 2 running backs in the backfield. They've got a wide receiver lined up tight and a tight end lined up tight. The Texans have 5 defensive linemen, so they have 5 down here. They're really looking for the run. And the way that the Chiefs end up blocking this out, so they're going to actually have Carson Steele, their fullback, take the defensive end. Noah Gray is going to take a defensive tackle. Then Wanya Morris is going to take one with Trey Smith. And then, so again, Noah Gray here, Morris and Trey Smith here. Creed Humphrey is going to like slide past this defensive tackle, kind of give him a half block. And then he's going to come in, and Trey Smith's going to come off the double with Wanya and double him with Travis Kelce, who's going to come up and insert here. Then Creed is going to come out with Mike Caliendo, and the two of them are going to double team linebacker to really create a nice hole. And then Joe Tooney is going to seal out over here, and then Juju is going to come around this linebacker and seal out. So the goal here, Tooney is going to kick this end out. Juju's going to push this guy in. And then Caliendo and Creed are going to block up here. So they're trying to create an alley over here for Kareem Hunt to run through, while they have an insert over here. Travis Kelce is going to insert over here. So their lead backs are going this way, which is going to help get the impression that the run is going in that direction and get defenders to flow that way. But they're clearing a hole over here for Hunt to run through. So let's watch it in action. This is actually a really cool play. So like we said, we start with the end is going to be Carson Steele's responsibility. You see Noah Gray coming up here. Wanya's coming down with Trey Smith to start, and here comes Creed over here. So if we let it run a little more, here's that double. Here's Creed blocking here. Look at where all the second level defenders are looking, right? They're following the lead backs, right? So Carson Steele's headed in this direction. Travis Kelce is ultimately going to double this guy that's coming off of Creed with Trey. So everybody is kind of flowing in that general direction as where they see everybody going. Here's Creed now leaving 97 with Kelce came up and he's doing that double with Trey Smith. They get the linebacker here. Juju is up here on the defensive back. And like we said, Juju wants to push him this way as Tooney pushes out that way. And these two are creating a hole there. And you see this nice seam developing. Hunt, for his part, does a good job of taking the handoff and kind of initially following the lead, right? So that helps bring the defenders into this part of the field. And then he just slides as the hole opens, and there it is. He's going to have a hole right there. Look at Juju sealing that off nicely. Tooney sealing off the Caliendo and Creed double team, and there's a massive lane for Hunt to cut through and get 20 yards and a first down. Let's see it again from this view. So again, Juju is going to come and try to seal this guy off from this side. Tooney is going to kick him out. Caliendo is going second level here. Creed's going to join him after blocking him and then come second level. Trey will end up picking up this guy with Kelce after he helps initially Wanya Morris's double team. He's going to switch and come over with Kelce to double this guy. And Noah Gray is going to take on this tackle, and Carson Steele will take on this end. So look at what it looks like from the start, right? If you're a defender, right, they're handing it off, lead guy going this way, lead guy going this way. Look at where all the defenders, none of the defenders are like trying to wheel over here and fill a gap, right? Not even this guy. They're following the kind of action of the run play with their eyes, and everything is telling them it's going in this direction. Then Hunt comes up, and look, the blocks have been made. Creed and Caliendo get second level. Here's that double team with Trey Smith and Travis Kelce. The hole is there, and Hunt hits it. And he does a good job. Juju does a good job of sealing to the inside, so Hunt has a nice lane to get outside. And there he goes. And he does a good job just sliding, ending the game, not risking a turnover or anything weird happening. So ultimately, we've gone through several short yardage runs in this game. And the common denominator was when they've been blocked well, they've gone well. When they haven't been blocked well, they haven't gone well. The two that weren't blocked well, unfortunately, were the 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 plays for Pacheco. Otherwise, the Chiefs actually did pretty well in short yardage situations. One could argue there was only one other situation where it was like very obvious the Chiefs were going to run no matter what, and that's this last play right here. And that a lot of the other ones, they kind of ran RPOs, they were 2nd and short, so it was a little different. But ultimately, I'm not sure that I see like a huge difference from this game, at least, on the relative performance of the two backs. Pacheco was able to get a 7-yard run on 2nd and 3 when it was blocked up, and he got stuffed on 3rd and 4th and 1 when it wasn't blocked up. Kareem Hunt overall had more success in the short yardage game, but he also didn't have a run that was poorly blocked for short yardage. His runs were blocked pretty well, and he took advantage of it. But I don't know that this game's the takeaway needs to be that, like, oh, we shouldn't be running Pacheco in short yardage situations. At least the evidence from this game doesn't tell us that. And we can see, overall that there may be a larger narrative that I'm missing by just looking at this game. I don't know. But from this game, it seems pretty straightforward. If it's blocked well, the Chiefs' backs do well. If it's not blocked well, they don't. And Pacheco was just the unfortunate recipient of a couple blocking errors in this one. Well, this was the first game where the Chiefs had their full complement of receivers we expect to have for the whole year. Sorry, Rashee Rice, but we can't wait to have you back next year. We had Worthy, Hopkins, and Hollywood Brown on the field at the same time, and it really seemed like there were some real easy buttons for the offense, some nice ability to get open on certain concepts for the offense that seemed a little more difficult in prior weeks. So I wanted to look at several 3rd and 4th down conversions from this game to kind of see what the offense looks like in these passing situations now that we've got so many weapons. So we're going to start with this play. It's from 11:08 to go in the first quarter, a scoreless game, and the Chiefs are facing a 3rd and 3 at the Texans' 45-yard line or so. Let's take a look at the play and then see what happened. So Mahomes sends Perine out in motion. He steps back and fires a dart to Hopkins for a quick first down. So let's take a look at what happened on this play and what's going on. The Chiefs come out here at 11 personnel. They've got one running back, that's Samaje Perine, one tight end, that's Travis Kelce. Wide receivers are Justin Watson, Xavier Worthy, and DeAndre Hopkins. The Texans look like they're kind of playing a variation of 2-man. So they have this like second safety come back. So it looks like they have 2 safeties, but this safety really looks like he's bracketing Hopkins along with this corner. So what happens is Perine is going to run a wheel route to the outside, which is going to bring his defender over. And Hopkins is going to come and sit. It's like a curl flat, similar to a curl flat combination. But so it looks like these 2 defenders just kind of stay and bracket Hopkins while this defender runs with Perine. Kelce gets the attention from this defender as he comes over the middle. Worthy will kind of take this defender and then go over. Watson will clear out, and this safety stays deep. So as Mahomes drops back, he hits the back of his drop here, and you see this defender's trying to follow, and it looks like both of these guys have eyes on Hopkins here. But Hopkins just turns at the first down marker, and he kind of feels that no one's on his hip, so he drops back a little bit, and Mahomes just hits him. I'm not really sure why Hopkins was given so much cushion here on a 3rd and 3. I mean, they really made this easy. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain this one at all. I guess they might have expected him to be taking a more vertical route, as that's something he has done in the past sometimes on 3rd down, but they just had him come and sit, and he really received zero kind of, what's the term I'm looking for? Resistance. He got zero resistance here. They just allowed him to come sit right at the first down marker and fall forward. Fairly easy, but part of that was just dictated by the coverage. They didn't really make it challenging for him at all in this one. This is typically the bracket is something we would see on Kelsey a lot, but Kelsey was singled up here. He kind of came over the middle, but look at Hopkins. Look how far back the defenders are. Like, they're really no resistance at all. It was a pretty easy first down, so doesn't tell us a ton on this situation. I guess the Texans were expecting something other than what the Chiefs gave them, and they got an easy first. So now we're a little later in the same drive, still 0-0, and the Chiefs have a 4th and 1 at the Texans' 30-yard line. So let's see what they do on this play, and then we can break it down. Mahomes comes out of the gun. He's got Kareem Hunt to his right. He takes the snap, and he hits Hollywood Brown on a crosser. Ends up gaining a significant chunk of about 13 or 14 yards for a first down. So let's see how they got there. The Chiefs are lined up here they are in 11 personnel. Their one running back is Kareem Hunt. Their one tight end is Travis Kelce. They've got 3 wide receivers over here on the right, Justin Watson, Xavier Worthy, and Hollywood Brown. The Texans are running this like man match coverage. So they're essentially running man, but trying to pass off routes that are crossing, because, you know, that's what teams, and especially Andy Reid, likes to do in these man situations where they need short yardages, run crossers to try to have defenders navigate traffic. They've got one deep safety, so theoretically, with the number of eligible receivers, they can have one guy who's just kind of like a robber in coverage, assuming they don't blitz an extra person, which they didn't on this play. Oh, actually, they did. So, see, they blitzed the 5th right here. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So they don't have a robber. Everybody should be guarding a man in this situation. Their extra defender underneath is blitzed. So what the Chiefs end up doing is they run Kelce on a crosser this way. Justin Watson clears out. And then they have Worthy run in and then end up like a second level crosser. And then Brown runs like the shallow drag across. And the Texans, like I said, try to match this. They try to pass routes off and they get confused. So they end up not doing this properly. You can see this starts with Stingley over here is up over Brown. And so Stingley, let's watch him. Leaves Brown thinking he's passing that route off, and initially comes over to Watson, but Watson already has somebody. So then he drops over to Kareem Hunt, but Kareem Hunt already has somebody too. Because Watson was taken just straight by this defender here. Hunt was taken by the linebacker over here. It's followed. So Stingley, after leaving Brown, has nobody to cover. Then this defender right here runs with Xavier Worthy on his like deeper cross. And so that leaves number 4 right here, who essentially is responsible for both Travis Kelce and Hollywood Brown, since Stingley dropped off and doesn't have anybody to pick up. And he kind of vacates to the sideline. So if you notice, number 4 is running with Kelce, and then he sees Brown cross, so he drops off Kelce and comes over here. He's kind of in a no-win situation. Kelce ends up wide open in the middle of the field because there's the extra defender. He's dropped off and has no one to cover. 4 switched over to Hollywood Brown, but it still ended up being too late. Mahomes has already hit him with the pass. So if you look at it from Mahomes hits the back of his drop, and he's got Worthy coming over. Brown is completely uncovered coming over, and Kelce is covered. As Brown crosses over the center, Mahomes decides to throw it to him, which is where you wonder, honestly, if 4 would have dropped off if this throw hadn't been made, if he would have just run with Kelce. I think he drops off because he sees the throw. But Mahomes essentially sees Brown running completely wide open because after Stingley dropped him, nobody picked him up. and Stingley didn't pick anybody up. So there's clear miscommunication there in the secondary. Brown catches the shallow drag, and he's always been great in open space. Gets good yardage after the catch, and the Chiefs get a first down. Again, you can see it from Mahomes' perspective. There goes Worthy. He's going to come and clear out deeper. And look, nobody is running with Hollywood Brown. So as Mahomes looks down the field, it looks like he's looking at Worthy's route first. There's just nothing. And, Four is passing this off right as Mahomes is throwing it. But when you have Brown on the run, not going to be able to stop that. Easy first down for the Chiefs. Nice having Hollywood Brown back. His first catch as a Chief. 8:49 to go in the second quarter. At this point, the Chiefs are down 10-7, and they have a 3rd and 7 at their own 21-yard line. Let's run this play, and then we can discuss what happened. So another 3rd down. Mahomes drops back. He throws to the left and gets Hollywood Brown wide open for a 20-yard gain. So let's run it back and see what happened. The Chiefs come out here. They've got 2 tight ends, and they have no running back on the field. So that's like 0-2 personnel. Tight ends are Noah Gray here, Travis Kelce here, and their wide receivers are Xavier Worthy on the line of scrimmage, DeAndre Hopkins, and Hollywood Brown. The Texans are going to come out in a cover 1 man, so they've got 1 deep safety. Chiefs have been seeing a lot of cover 1 this year. And instead of having an underneath robber, this guy ends up spying Mahomes. So he just comes at the line of scrimmage, and he's just there to track and make sure that Mahomes doesn't run. So everybody else is playing man-to-man coverage. You got manned up right here. He is manned up on Kelce. You got Brown, Worthy, Hopkins. Kelce is going to stay in and chip to help on the end before coming out on a little out route. Gray is going to do the same. He's going to chip and then come out. Hopkins will come and just sit after about 3 or 4 yards. And the real play here is with Worthy, who's going to come and run in, and Hollywood, who's going to run a corner pattern. And Worthy is going to try to help set a pick for Hollywood coming out on the corner pattern. And I'll say he does a pretty good job. So here we go. You see there's the chip from Gray. Here's the chip from Kelce. Everyone comes out of their breaks. And if you look, Worthy kind of runs with his man. But as he comes through, this is the guy guarding Hollywood right here. This is Worthy's man. So in the contact, Hollywood's defender has to run around, and he does it at the same time that the Kelce's defender is running around, so that slows him around even more, having to run around. And look where he is when Hollywood comes out of his break. Like, he's got no chance. This is a great job of timing by Worthy, kind of running through his route and making sure he doesn't contact the defender, but his defender ends up contacting the defender. And he has to wheel all the way around. He's got no chance. And Hollywood does a great job of just coming in cleanly into his break, breaking right to the outside, and he's wide open. Mahomes gets it out to him quick. Gains 20 yards. I mean, this is the kind of easy play that has not been there at times for the Chiefs offense when it's looked really clunky. But this was as straightforward as it gets. A nice play design by Andy Reid, nice execution by the players, and that's the hope here now with this full complement of wide receivers. All 3 of them were in the bunch right there, that we will have some kind of easy button plays here where you can just get it out to reliable wide receivers and move the chains. We now move ahead to 6:30 to go in the second quarter. The Chiefs are down 10-7, and they have a 3rd and 10 at the Texans' 32-yard line. Let's take a look at this 3rd down play, and then we'll break down what happens. Noah Gray goes in motion. Chiefs have a sprint out action to the right. Mahomes throws down the field to Kelce for a first down gain of about 14 yards. So let's go back and look at how this happened. The Chiefs come out lined up in 12 personnel. They've got one running back, that's Samaje Perine, and their tight ends are Noah Gray and Travis Kelce. Their two wide receivers are Justin Watson and DeAndre Hopkins. So what they are going to do on this route, first of all, the Texans, though they show too high at the snap, they rotate a safety down and they end up running a cover 3. So they've got their middle of the field safety. Stingley over here has a deep responsibility, and this corner has a deep responsibility as well, and then they're going to have underneath defenders. So at the snap, what the Chiefs are going to do, Noah Gray, so the line is going to block left, right, because this is a sprint out to the right. Noah Gray is going to come in and seal off the defensive end. So he's going to come down, allow the end in, and then seal him off as Mahomes runs around the side. DeAndre Hopkins up here is going to run an over. Kelce is going to run straight and come and sit. Watkins is going to clear out. And then Perine is going to run kind of that sprint out. So as Mahomes comes around, Watkins, or did I call him Watkins? Perine is going to come right across and be like the initial flat option. So here we go. There's the sprint out. Here's the clear out. So Stingley runs with Watson. Here's the middle of field safety. As Hopkins comes in, his man just runs with him because there's nobody else here, so he doesn't have to worry about his deep third. And they're flowing in this direction anyway because of the sprint out action. So Kelce comes and sits and finds a nice soft spot in the zone, and this is just classic Kelce. As Mahomes comes, you see him, and the thing I love most about this is look how confidently he just fires this throw. Like, you can tell Mahomes is feeling the fact that these plays are getting easier now with some of the new toys he has to play with, now that he has so many options on the field at a time. It's common now for him to have, 2 of Hopkins, Kelce, Brown, or Worthy on the field at all times. And so here he's got Hopkins and Kelce. Kelce finds the soft spot, and look at him just rip that ball in there. You love it when Mahomes is playing like that, where he's just firing. In fact, the play before this, he had done a sprint out and fired it just too much, put too much on it to Hollywood Brown. And even though he overthrew it, I loved it because you like it when he's out there throwing hard. It's what Matthew Lane from Kansas City Sports Network calls throwing with his chest. And you see it right here. He's out there. He sees Kelce finding that little void in the zone. He just fires it out there to him for first down. Chiefs keep the chains moving. So you see it here from this perspective. Again, you see Gray is going to come to seal this end. Mahomes takes the sprint out. Perine to the flat. And the line is all blocking this way. Here's the sprint out. There goes Mahomes. And look at that. He throws it across his body down the field as he's running right. Fires it in there. That's vintage Mahomes to Kelce. It's nice to see that. That hasn't looked that easy all year. This is what it used to look like, and it's nice to see that back. Now we're later on the same drive. We're 5:15 to go in the second quarter, and the Chiefs have a 3rd and 6 at the, looks like, 14-yard line of the Texans. Still down 10-7, looking to get a score and take the lead again. Let's run this play real quick, and then we'll break it down what happened. Chiefs are in shotgun. Perine is the back on the field. Mahomes takes a snap and throws to his right. Hits Xavier Worthy for much more than a first down, getting down to the 3-yard line to set up 1st and goal. So what happened? We've got 11 personnel. That's 1 running back, Samaje Perine, 1 tight end, Travis Kelce. The wide receivers are Hollywood Brown isolated over here, DeAndre Hopkins, and Xavier Worthy. The Texans are playing cover 1 man. So they have 1 deep safety, and then they've got an underneath robber defender. And everybody else is manned up. Man here. One of these two will be your robber, and the other one is responsible for Perine. So what the Chiefs do to counter this man is they're going to send Kelsey out over the middle, and they're going to send Hollywood Brown over as a pair of crossers. Hopkins is really lined up on the line of scrimmage, in my opinion, to prevent them from pressing Worthy so that Worthy can get a free release on his route. So Hopkins ends up coming in, and remember, contacting somebody within a yard of the line of scrimmage, up to a yard of the line of scrimmage, is not offensive pass interference. So he goes through Worthy's defender and heads to the corner, and Worthy comes in and runs a whip route. And just watch him run this route. So Worthy comes in. Here is Hopkins preventing the press on Worthy before he runs through his route, and Worthy just takes a couple steps in, gives that hard cut here. Got to sell the in cut and then come out, and that is a win. That's enough separation in the NFL. Mahomes sees it immediately, hits him right there, and Worthy's able to turn the corner and almost get to the end zone. Again, easy button plays for the Chiefs. They just have to make sure to get Worthy that release, so they do it by having your big receiver come out in front of him off the line of scrimmage, get him free. It's easy conversion against man coverage, and that's what the Chiefs have been looking for all year. It's the consistency against man coverage. When things get tight, teams want to cover with man. What do? This one was very straightforward. You look at Mahomes, he's looking for Worthy the whole way. Worthy gets open. Easy first down. This is just so nice for Chiefs fans to see that this is happening. And it's the perfect time of year. Stuff is coming into balance. There's suddenly several people that are reliable on third downs. Worthy is really coming into his own over the past several weeks, winning on multiple levels. You'll love to see it. All right, so for the last one, we're here at 11:06 to go in the game. The Chiefs are up 24-19. And they have a 3rd and 8 at their own 33-yard line. So let's take a look at this play. Mahomes is out of the gun. He's got nobody in the backfield with him. Takes a snap. He ends up having a free rusher. He throws it over to Hopkins, who spins around and just gets enough for that first down to keep the chains moving. So what happened on this play? The Chiefs are lined up here in... This is, again, no running backs, 2 tight ends, so 0-2. Tight ends are Kelsey and Gray. The wide receivers are Brown, Worthy, and Hopkins. And they motion Brown over, so they've got all 3 wide receivers on the same side of the field. So exciting. Their route combination, they end up sending Worthy on a deep corner. They send Brown and out. And they have Hopkins just curl short. So 3 different levels on this side. Gray ends up helping with the defensive end and then coming out late. Kelsey comes to help Chip, and he actually tries to help with the rusher before coming out. The Texans are running cover 1 man. So they've got the deep safety, and they're blitzing from the edge, so everybody is manned up. So he's on Kelsey. They've got to replace here. So you would have thought at the snap, right, you have these 3 guarding these 3. But ultimately, because number 4 blitzes, I misidentified. He's the one that comes and replaces, and he has Kelsey. So because of that quick replace, Hopkins' curl is open. That's the benefit of, when you have the quick blitz, then you get the quick guy open. Mahomes identifies that and comes over because they kind of have 3 coming over the top. Hopkins sits underneath. Mahomes gets it out to him quickly. And Hopkins is actually surprised when he catches this ball that he doesn't have more to contend. You can tell he's ready to fight through some traffic. And I think that's one of the reasons why he kind of stumbles coming around. But he had a lot more space than he thought. Then he spins a couple times just to make sure, and then extends the ball too as he's going down to make sure he's over the line of scrimmage, or it's over the first down marker. But again, the reason why Hopkins comes open so quickly is because they have a blitz off the edge and have to replace from inside, and they don't get, that depth. The inside guy kind of runs with Worthy. They're all kind of getting depth, so they don't sit on the shallow route on a 3rd and 8. And they managed to get so much depth, just like an earlier clip we showed you, that Hopkins had enough room underneath to go up and get the first down. You can see from Mahomes' perspective, he's got the free rusher coming off of the edge. He sees the free rusher. He knows he's got to get it off quickly, and so he gets it out quick to Hopkins, who does the rest and gets the first down. So the point that I want to make here is it's not an accident, or it's not like surprising the Chiefs are doing well on 3rd down. The Chiefs have been doing well on 3rd down all year. That's been a constant conversation as far as how their offenses continue to function well, even though they're not getting explosive plays this year. I think the difference in this game is if you look at all the clips here, we're talking like first, second read. These are not, the reason why the Chiefs have been doing well on 3rd down most of this year is because Mahomes has been Mahomes on 3rd down. He's been making things happen. And in this game, it was a lot more just the plays working. Guys coming open. First reads open. And that is extremely encouraging for Chiefs fans. Should be very excited with this full complement of playmakers. Again, we miss you, Rashee Rice. Wish you were here with us. Can't wait to see you again next year because, man, he was playing so well this year. But now that the Chiefs have 4 legitimate catching options, meaning like 4 high-end guys in Worthy, Brown, Hopkins, and Kelce, this offense seems to be now creating easier answers for Mahomes, and that should be really encouraging for the Chiefs offense. Now we're in the stretch run and going into the playoffs. So let's pick up the game with 6:39 to go in the first quarter. Still a scoreless game. This is the Chiefs' first drive of the game still, and they have a 2nd and 8 at the Texans' 15-yard line. Let's run the play, and let's see what happens. Mahomes is in the gun. He's got 3 receivers to his left. Drops back to throw, steps through the pocket, stumbles, almost ankle tackled, but then makes his way all the way to the goal line for a touchdown. And let's see what happened. So the Chiefs come out here in 11 personnel. They've got 1 running back, it's Kareem Hunt, and their tight end is Travis Kelce. Wide receivers are DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, and Juju Smith-Schuster. The Texans essentially are playing quarters principles here. So they've got each of these guys is essentially responsible for a deep quarter of the field. If anybody kind of gets into their area in the deep part of the field, they're supposed to be responsible for not letting anyone get behind them. And that only leaves you with 3 underneath defenders. So this is more of like preventing a deep pass. So the Chiefs end up running the following route combination. They have Kelce run a dig route. Hopkins will run a deep over. Worthy runs kind of a speed out. And Juju is going to come in and run a dig route the other way. So as the routes develop, Mahomes hits the back of his drop. The kind of quarters defender on this side runs with Kelce. So he ends up being kind of manned up at this point. I think partially because he's not really so worried about anybody else coming into this part of the field. I guess if Hopkins had come all the way across. But as you can see, as Hopkins comes up, he's being picked up by this guy. So they kind of devolve into man principles as they kind of know who the guys are that are going out on their routes. But Mahomes drops back. A little bit of pressure around the edge, but Tooney does a good job of funneling it back, and so Mahomes has some room to step up. But the right side of the line is being walked back, so he doesn't have that strong of a pocket. So he ultimately tries to step through the A-gap. The defensive tackle kind of tries to trip him up. Again, no one's really open as he's coming through. And because of the deep principles here, you have 3 defenders in the end zone, 1 defender way out with Kareem Hunt in the flat. He's got a lot of real estate on 2nd and 8, so he decides to just make a run for it. And he comes up through the middle and isn't hit until about the 1 yard line, is able to take it into the end zone for a touchdown. Smart move from Mahomes, seeing, whenever you have quarters or you have those, coverages that either dictate that people turn their back on you, like if you have a man-heavy situation, or the people that are looking at you, like in a cover 2 man or quarters coverage, the people that are looking at you are way back in the field. This is a good time to try to run from the quarterback position, and that's exactly what Mahomes did here. Seeing it from his perspective, again, you see him drop back, and he's looking to the left first, it looks like. So it looks like it might have been Juju's dig that he wanted initially, or the sprint out to Worthy. I mean, if he wanted the out to Worthy, that was there. So he might have been looking over here for Juju's dig, as that was coming across. It does look like at the last minute here, I mean, this wasn't what Mahomes was looking. This is where we were looking when Mahomes was looking left. So unclear whether he just turned this down or whether he was waiting to see if this would pop open. But he was definitely looking in that direction. Then he felt the pocket crumble. So here he is. He's looking over to his left. He slides forward here when he feels the pressure, and then he can tell, okay, my pocket's not holding up. I'm just going to get out. And he does a great job of maintaining his balance as his leg is clipped there. Keeps his balance, then is off to the races, and again, gets close enough before he gets hit that he's able to just carry it into the end zone for the touchdown. Chiefs get on the board, up 7-0. All right, we pick up the game with 10:16 to go in the second quarter. The Texans have first and goal at the Chiefs' 10-yard line. They're down 7-3 at this point. So let's check out the play that they run, and we'll pick it up. They've got a bunch of 3 wide receivers to the right. Stroud takes the snap out of the shotgun. He's pressured by Karlaftis, running to his right, and throws to the middle of the field for a touchdown to Dalton Schultz. All right, so let's break this down. First of all, the Texans break the huddle and try to get to a snap really quickly, hoping to catch the Chiefs off guard. They're coming out lined up with 1 running back and 1 tight end and 11 personnel, and their 3 wide receivers are all bunched here over to the right. You got Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and Robert Woods. The Chiefs actually are going to run man coverage, and so the 2 extra people they're not running any like deep safety. What they're doing is they're using their 2 extra people. One of them is blitzing, and the other one is doubling Nico Collins. So they double Nico Collins, they blitz, so they send 5, and everybody else is manned up. The Texans run the following route combinations. They have Nico Collins run a deep over. Dalton Schultz is running an over himself. Tank Dell comes in and then goes to the corner. And Robert Woods is going to come and just sit. And so initially, everything is pretty well covered. The only possible outlet here is, with all of this, they could have potentially had Mixon out in the flat for a little bit of a gain, as Bolton was trying to get through traffic to get there. If Stroud is able to hit the back of his drop and get this out to Mixon now, he might have something there. Otherwise, it's pretty well covered. And the Chiefs blitz from Stroud's left, but it's Karlaftis that ends up getting some good pressure from the right. And Chiefs fans were frustrated by, as Stroud broke contain, you can see Karlaftis right there trying to pull off and being held by the right tackle. I'm actually not terribly bothered by this because, when by the rule, right, you're allowed to grab defensive players within their frame as long as they are not pulling away from you. You can't grab outside of their frame, but you can grab the jersey or grab the pads within the frame. It's just that once they start to pull away, like here, you have to release. And it really seems like it's a judgment call for referees. how long you can hold. Like, there have definitely been times where this much time has been called a holding penalty. But there is some degree of grace period that refs give you for the tackle to, or the lineman to realize that, oh, the QB is broken contain and he's pulling off. I don't know. Different officials give you different amounts of time. But this didn't seem like insanely egregious to me. Like, right as Karlaftis starts to pull off and the tackle realizes it, he lets go. So, I don't know. I've seen that called a hold before. I don't really have a problem with it not being called a hold. I wasn't mad about that like a lot of people were. What I was mad about, though, is what happens over here. Because Dalton Schultz right there just straight up shoves Trent McDuffie. I mean, this is quite clearly offensive pass interference. He just shoves him in the middle of the end zone. And of course he's open. And he catches the touchdown. I feel like that was surprising. And the funniest part to me was when McDuffie was complaining, Dalton Schultz does a little finger wag there. It's like, no. It's like as if we all didn't have access to the film and wouldn't see later how very clearly he pushed off right there. So that was a missed call. I'm not someone that gets overly bothered by missed calls just because they happen and it's unfortunate. I will just say, though, if you're a person that gets upset when calls you don't like go in favor of the Chiefs, at least, one should acknowledge these that don't go in favor of the Chiefs. I will say in this game, there were a couple calls against the Texans that I thought were somewhat questionable. Not the roughing the passer call that I think was talked about. I feel like I don't know what to tell you. If you're a football fan and you're surprised that when they hit a quarterback in the head, they call roughing the passer, like, I don't know, maybe you've just been in a coma for the last 10 years. Like, this is what they do. You can not like it, but it's not the refs cheating. It's the refs calling the way that the rules are. You might say you don't like the way the rules are written, and that's a different discussion. But if it surprises you that a quarterback gets a call because he gets hit in the head, you just haven't been paying attention. However, there was an OPI call on the Texans that I thought was a little questionable and a defensive holding call, which is par for the course. Like, you know what? Questionable calls happen in games all the time. This one was a Chiefs defensive back being shoved in the middle of a play and it not being called. So this one went against the Chiefs. Here it is from this perspective. You can see again on Karlaftis. Honestly, if he has any kind of gripe, see, like, as he's pulling, and you can see the ref's looking right at it. So this is clearly within the ref's judgment. This is that kind of grace period that when you realize, and he released, I don't know. I don't find that overly egregious personally. It's this that, to me, is a pretty clear penalty. From that view, we were able to see his left hand. From the sideline view, from the end zone view, you can see his right hand as he just pushes off of McDuffie. And the finger wag is my favorite part. Like, I think everybody's going to go back and watch this and see that you pushed off. What are you wagging your finger about? Anyway, it was a big touchdown for the Texans. They ended up going up 10-7 here. All right, let's pick up the game with 54 seconds to go in the first half. The Texans have a 3rd and 20 around the Chiefs' 40-yard line. The Chiefs are up 14-10 at this point, and the Texans are hoping to get points going into half. Let's watch the play, and then we'll break it down. They've got Stroud here in the gun with 3 to his right, 1 to the left. Drops back, feels pressure, and throws it, intercepted by Trent McDuffie. So, now, as we look at this play, Stroud's got a running back and a tight end, so he's an 11 personnel here. And the Chiefs are basically just running a cover 2. They show different safety look than they ultimately end up running. They show 2 high right here, and then Jaden Hicks ends up swapping with Justin Reed right at the snap. But this is just a standard cover 2. The Texans run this receiver deep, and they run all 3 with in cuts at the same level here. And on defense, what the Chiefs have here is they run an interior stunt. So they've got Michael Dana pushing into the center, trying to bring the guard over, and then Omenihu from the inside wheeling around and trying to create pressure. And really, Dana is the one that ends up kind of getting half of the center, so he's able to fight through and get Stroud to feel that pressure right up in his face. And Dana even gets his hand up, which might be part of the reason why Stroud jumps, and he just forces this throw. McDuffie's sitting right there ready to undercut it. He's undercut on Nico Collins. He gets down and picks it off. Poor decision by Stroud here. He just really forced it. But that pressure was coming much quicker than he anticipated. So here you see at the snap, Dana's going to try to push in to create a lane for Omenihu to loop around and create pressure. But it's Dana who ultimately ends up creating the pressure, because as Omenihu loops, the guard stops helping on Dana, and Dana's already got some leverage to the inside of the center. So he continues to just push through, and he gets his hand up. That makes Stroud uncomfortable. He tries a jump pass and just not accurate with the pass. Big interception for the Chiefs. It prevented the Texans from getting into field goal range. It was 3rd and 20, but even if they had gotten 5-10 yards, they could have kicked a field goal. Fairbairn has a good deep leg. Instead, turned it around and gave the Chiefs an opportunity to get points before the half. All right, so we're at the next play after the McDuffie interception. The Chiefs have 1st and 10 at their 35-yard line. 52 seconds to go in the half, trying to see if they can get points. Let's see the play, and then we'll break it down. Mahomes is in the gun. He's got 3 to the right, 1 to the left, but Gray comes over in motion to the left alongside Kelsey. He throws a swing pass over to the left to Perine, who's wide open, and gets a ton after the catch to get inside the 30-yard line around the 29 or 28. So let's get back and see how that happened. So the Chiefs coming in here, of course, needing a splash play. Motion Gray over, and they're in 12 personnel. 1 running back, 2 tight ends. That's Kelsey and Gray over here on the left. On the right, they've got Worthy and Hopkins. The Texans here are playing a cover 1 man. And in addition, looks like they are rushing an extra. Yeah, so they are rushing an extra. So they've got no underneath defender. It's just straight man coverage with 1 safety deep. It also looks like what they're trying to do with their rush is what teams had done before. They're trying to get Mahomes going this way and then take a linebacker and stunt him around to see if they can get him to drift to his left. Mahomes, though, is set up for a quick hitting play. This is an Andy Reid staple. So what they do often against man coverage, and we have broken this down in other videos, is Andy loves to send guys in and send the running back out against man coverage to help pick off people that could be supposed to guard the running back. Either send them on like full drag routes, or in this case, he just literally has them block. And the key to this play is, remember, it's not offensive pass interference if you block within a yard of the line of scrimmage. So when you watch Kelsey, he just like posts up and blocks. Gray doesn't block so much as, he's kind of trying to run his route, but he engages the defender within that yard of the line of scrimmage and then continues to go. So doing that creates enough traffic here that Perine's man isn't able to get out to him, and he's able to run free. This concept was used a lot, if you remember, in 2022 when Jerick McKinnon had those 7 games in a row when he caught a touchdown pass. That concept was used several times to get McKinnon open in the red zone. So watch these two carefully. On this side, they're actually running concepts. They've got a whip route for Worthy, and then Hopkins runs a curl. So just in case this all didn't work out, they did have some options on the front side of this play too. But if you look here, look at Kelsey, he's just blocking immediately. And then look at Gray coming and engaging within a yard of the line of scrimmage. It's the line of scrimmage, so within a yard of the line of scrimmage. engaging, and they're trying to get Perine a release around. So here, Perine comes around, and his man is nowhere to be found. He's the one that actually Kelsey was blocking. So they've got no chance. Actually, it is a little hard to tell. It is hard to tell. It's not like anyone makes a, you can tell this is Gray's man. But which of these two had Kelsey and which had Perine, it's kind of hard to tell. In any case, no one ran with Perine. So he's wide open all the way down the field. I think this ended up being a 36-yard gain for the Chiefs. But here you can see they motion Gray over. They've got the man look they want. And Mahomes, that's his first read. That's what he's looking for. It pops wide open. Andy Reid staple right there, and it got us a huge gain and into field goal range. We just jump ahead a couple plays. We've got 1st and 10 at the Houston 24-yard line. There are 39 seconds to go in the second quarter. So we're still at Chiefs up 14-10, trying to tack on points before the half. Let's take a look at this play, and let's see what happened. Chiefs have a bunch to the right. Mahomes drops back and lofts one over to Worthy on the sideline. Catches the ball, but is only able to get 1 foot down in bounds. All right, so first let's check out the coverage. Again, the Texans are running a cover 1 man, and they blitz. So they have no underneath defender. It's just man-to-man across the board, and they have the 1 deep safety. So the Chiefs are going to run. Worthy is going to do an out and up. Kelsey is going to come up the field as well. Hopkins comes across and over, and Gray comes over. So this is 12 personnel. You've got the 2 tight ends and the 2 wide receivers over here. Running back in this case is Pacheco. So look at Worthy, run his out and up. Look at the respect that he has off the line here, the depth that this corner is playing Stingley. He runs the out and up. Mahomes throws it here. So he decides to throw here. And this, to me, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is this was not typical of the previous Mahomes-Worthy situations. First of all, they're on the same page. This is a great throw. Catches it in stride. It's not like Worthy didn't know about the sideline. He's trying to tap that back foot, and he almost did. But unfortunately, the back foot clipped his front foot. You see that? It clips his right heel, and he's not able to get it down and drag it. If that left foot had come by just a couple inches to the left and hadn't clipped, he would have tapped that toe down, and that would have been a touchdown. This is very exciting for the Mahomes-Worthy connection. I think this play actually went really well. Just a hair off, and I don't want Chiefs fans to get jaded by the miscues of Mahomes to Worthy from the past. This was not like those. This was perfect, or almost perfect. Worthy just couldn't quite, well, we're not going to see it very well in this view, but he just tries to get that left foot in, and he hits his right foot with it. He was so close to having a touchdown here. And you can see him say, so close. And he's right. This is a play that should be really encouraging. Mahomes and Worthy, they were on the same page on this one. Worthy he knew where the sideline was. He did everything right, except he just wasn't quite able to get that second toe down. And it's because his first foot was in the way. I expect more to come, and I expect some success real soon from this combination going deep. All right, we pick it up here with 11:48 to go in the third quarter. The Texans have 2nd and 7 at the Chiefs' 30-yard line, and they are down 17-10. So let's run this play, and then let's look at what happened. Right now, Texans have 1 wide on either side. They run a play-action bootleg. Stroud throws it back down the field to Tank Dell, who catches it for a touchdown. Unfortunately, this is the play that Dell very severely injured his left knee. But let's break down the play. So it looks like 47, I don't know the Texans personnel that well, but he's either a running back or a tight end. So this is either 21 personnel with 2 running backs and 1 tight end, or it's 12 personnel with 1 running back and 2 tight ends. And then they've got 2 wide receivers. And so the Chiefs are running what looks like a cover 1. They kind of show 2 right here. But it looks like Brian Cook is supposed to be the deep safety and they're playing man coverage. But this hard bootleg fake with the kind of end guy coming over gets Cook to come up, expecting to have to fit the run. And then he sees the bootleg coming out and goes over there. So the Chiefs have no deep safety. There's no help for Williams and McDuffie. As the Texans send their 2 wide receivers out, it looks like they've got here and they've got a post and nobody over the top because Brian Cook sold on the play action. It's a really nice fake. I gave Bobby Slowick a lot of grief about the number of wide receiver screens they ran, so I should give him credit. This was a play that was very effective in getting the Chiefs to buy run. Everybody's coming in, but most importantly Cook came up. And I think when Stroud bootlegged, Cook was expecting Stroud to just run with this. And they did a good job of bootlegging over to the right. And 47 did a good enough job of occupying Karlaftis. And Stroud was able to set his feet and throw back to the left. And this is a beauty of a throw. Look at this throw. Unbelievable throw diagonally across the field from about the 40-yard line to the back of the end zone. And unfortunately for the Texans, both receivers thought that the ball was intended for them. So as Dell is coming across, his teammate comes right into his knee. And that is gruesome. I can't even imagine. Honestly, I'm so impressed with Tank Dell that he hung on to the ball because that looks horrible. And look at that. He managed to hang on to the ball through the process of the catch. But that looks terrible. Really hope that Tank Dell's okay and that he recovers all right from that. He had to stay overnight in the hospital. And I honestly don't know the updates since then. But he made a great play and so did Stroud here. This is, the run fake was really good. And see Cook, once he came down on that, he wasn't trying to get back up. I think he thought that Stroud might just take off here. And, I thought this was Karlaftis. This is Tranquil. That's trying to contain here. And Stroud did a good job of setting up that block and just launching this ball. And Dell did a great job tracking it down the field. But you can see there his teammate that's really unfortunate. Hopefully Tank Dell is going to be okay. At this point, the Texans were in place to tie the game, but Kaimi Fairbairn ended up missing the extra point, so it ended up being 17-16. Now we pick it up with 2:46 to go in the third quarter. The Chiefs have first and goal at the Texans' 8-yard line. They're up 17-16 at this point. Let's run the play, and then we can break it down. Mahomes is in the gun. He's got 3 to his left. Kelsey's ISO to the right. Drops back and fires one out to Worthy. An easy touchdown in the front corner of the end zone. Let's break down what's going on here. First of all, the Chiefs are in 12 personnel with Hunt as the running back. Then the 2 tight ends are Kelsey and Gray. 2 wide receivers are Watson and Worthy. The Texans look like they're playing like a cover 3 principle here. So they essentially have Stingley, safety here, and the corner here all taking like deep responsibilities. And these 4 are responsible for underneath. So what the Chiefs run, Kelsey runs an in cut. Kareem Hunt goes out. Gray ends up coming to the middle and sitting at the goal line. Watson runs a corner, and underneath that corner, Worthy runs an out route. And ultimately what happens is, so Watson ends up taking the kind of outside deep defender with him. So then you've got these 4 underneath guys. And this guy just doesn't get enough width. You can't underestimate Worthy's speed. You've got to, you can't let him get that far outside of you. This is just too much room. Like in his zone drop, he's got to get a little more width here. Because once Worthy gets outside of you there, it's easy. Mahomes fires it to him quickly, and that's just too easy for the Chiefs. Again, you can see from Mahomes' perspective, this is his first read. He's looking at Worthy immediately. Right when he sees that width, he knows that's an easy touchdown. Easy pickings for the Chiefs on this play. When you're working with Worthy, you're underneath him. It's possible that this zone defender is anticipating that he's got a deep guy behind him, right? But this deep guy was occupied by the corner run by Watson here. So he's nowhere to be found when Worthy comes wide here. Easy touchdown for the Chiefs, and this put them up ultimately 24-16. Personal gripe, I would have kind of liked Andy to go for 2 there to try to make it a 2-possession game, make it a 9-point game. Ultimately, they stuck with that, and they ended up winning by that 8-point margin. So it added to their streak of one-score victories, I guess. So there's that, whether you consider that a positive. Anyway, at this point, 24-16. So for our final play of this week's film review, we take you to 4:27 to go in the fourth quarter. The Texans are down 27-19, and they have a 3rd and 11 at their own 25-yard line. Let's run the play here, and then we can break down what happened. So the Texans have a bunch to the right. Dalton Schultz looks like he's ISO'd on the left. Stroud out of the gun, drops back, and has Joshua Williams on him almost immediately. Takes him down for a big sack. Texans are forced to punt there, and they would never see the ball again as the Chiefs would run out the clock to secure the victory. So let's go back now and see what happened. Texans come out in 11 personnel with 1 running back and 1 tight end. And the Chiefs are running a blitz. So let's take a look at the protection scheme and how it's set up. So the Texans seem to view Charles Omenihu as the primary threat here. So they're sliding to the right. I mean, Omenihu and Karlaftis are fairly reasonably thought of as the best 2 pass rushers on the field right now. They've got Karlaftis, Omenihu, Turk Wharton, and Mike Dana. So they are sliding their line to the right. It looks like they've got tackle here, and then guard, center and guard are accounting for Omenihu. Then they've got the tackle here on Turk Wharton, the guard on Turk Wharton, and the tackle on Mike Dana. The Chiefs end up blitzing Tranquil, and so he blitzes here. Since the center and guard are taking Omenihu, the running back is responsible for blitz pickup on Tranquil. But if you've watched these film reviews before, one of the things that I talk about over and over again is that Steve Spagnuolo, when you have guys lined up in slot positions, condensed closer to the formation, he likes blitzing corners from there. It's a shorter distance to the quarterback. If you have a corner out wide, it takes longer to get there. So he's not blitzing from here. He's blitzing from here. So whenever you've got formations where you have condensed looks and you have guys in close to the tackle, and that causes defenders to line up close to the defensive end, and you're playing Spags, you always want to think about the risks of a blitz. They didn't have anybody accounting for Joshua Williams in their protection setup. And so what the Chiefs did was they dropped Karlaftis to try to help against underneath routes. So they still only rushed 4. But since Karlaftis was being accounted for over here and the line was sliding this way, you just had a bunch of guys blocking air. And they actually, on this side, ran a stunt. Dana came around and Wharton came this way. But the whole point was to get Williams free, which they did. Now, if you look, it's harder to see from this view, but we'll be able to see from the end zone view. Stroud starts reading the play from the ISO side. So he's reading from this side, which is fortunate for the Chiefs because he had an out route here that was open, and it's Karlaftis that was the one that was the only defender in that area. I mean, McDuffie's there over the top, so, this could have been a gain, but it would have been hopefully not a first down. We've covered how well McDuffie comes forward and makes tackles. But Karlaftis is the guy here, and I can see the other world where Chiefs fans are up in arms like, how come Karlaftis is out there guarding a pass catcher? What is Spagnuolo doing? But just remember, this is what you get when you have these simulated pressures. Like, the reason why you get free sack by Joshua Williams is because you get Karlaftis out in coverage. And sometimes it works. If Stroud had started reading this play from his right to his left, it's possible he hits this quick out and they get a gain of 8 on, what did we say the down and distance was? I've forgotten already. I think, it was 3rd and 11. So, that's okay, right? 3rd and 11, you get a gain of 8. McDuffie hopefully comes up and makes a good tackle before he gets to the first down marker, which is way back here. So that's acceptable. And honestly, that's possibly one reason why Stroud was reading this starting to his left, right? He's got a deeper route over there. Maybe he was going to come back to Nico Collins next. But by the time he notices the blitz is coming right here, Joshua Williams is really fast. And at this point, he has a full head of steam. So Stroud really has no chance at this point. He's got someone just making a beeline for him at that kind of pace. There's not much he can do, and he has to eat it for the sack, ultimately forcing the Texans to punt. You really don't want to have to punt in this situation, but, I mean, a huge loss, 3rd and extremely long in their own territory. You kind of had to. So again, you can see it really well from this view. They're worried about a Menahue, so they're sliding the line this way. These are the responsibilities. The tackle here, guard and center have a Menahue. The guard here has Wharton. The tackle here has Dana. Running back is going to come up and get Tranquil. But nobody is there to account for Joshua Williams when he blitzes off the corner. And then when Karlaftis comes away here, you see they essentially have 3 guys for 1. Tranquil comes here. Dana comes inside. Wharton comes outside. They handle that stunt. But they've got nobody for Joshua Williams. Another case of Spags fooling protections, getting a free runner, and getting a big sack that ultimately closed out the game as the Chiefs offense was able to run out the clock. 27-19, another victory for the Chiefs, and now they look ahead to the Christmas game against the Steelers. Thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate all of you that follow us along here on the YouTube channel. Those of you who download the podcast wherever you get podcasts, the Steeler Thoughts Chief Feelings podcast. And those of you that follow along and comment on TikTok, Twitter, or Instagram, we're at STCF715 on all of them. We'll have the Steelers-Ravens film review coming out shortly. And then we've got the Christmas game, the Chiefs-Steelers game, coming up Wednesday on Netflix. We'll be excited to review those when the film comes out for those. Thanks to all of you again. Until next time.